Hi, mine's Phil. I like talking about politics. So the Tories and their client media were really laying on the doom and gloom about Labour's VAT policy for private schools. It's a tax on aspiration, they said. No, it's actually a tax on wealth if you think about it, which is not normally how VAT works in practice, even though that is supposed to be the idea. It will mean an exodus of kids flooding from private to state schools. State schools will be overrun. Only, new report out shows that this will, and this will come as a massive surprise to you all, I'm sure. Absolutely shocking news. Nothing's really happened. It turns out, in like what might be shocking news of the century, that the Tories were exaggerating a little bit. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, Tories and Tory client media really went to town on the forecasts of woe concerning Labour's decision not to exempt private school fees from VAT or sales tax. It was a pointless policy to attack. About 7% of people go to private school, and the money raised was to be used for the schools the other 93% go to. So the policy was popular, right? What few genuine concerns there were over the policy, such as like particular needs that local state schools had no provision for, exemptions were made. But the Tories insisted that it would backfire, that tens of thousands of private school students would suddenly flood into state schools, causing the system to collapse. But the news today is that nothing really much seems to have happened at all. This is like when Boris Johnson claimed that if we stayed in the EU, Turkey would completely empty its entire population towards Britain. He didn't just say that a lot of people from Turkey would come to Britain. No, all of them were going to come. All of them, every single one. Nearly a decade later, Turkey's not even a step close to join the single market, let alone the EU, and the UK would have had a veto anyway. Plus, the idea that everyone in Turkey would want to relocate to a cold, wet island at the other end of the continent is more than a little bit fanciful. Just to highlight it, and Turkey is not a small country, by the way, very equivalent population. In 2024, the number of people from the UK visiting Turkey, 4.5 million. So 4.5 million of us went to Turkey last year. The number of people from Turkey visiting the UK, just over 300,000. That's like 7% as many. There are way more people from Britain who want to go to Turkey than the other way around. And it's this same ridiculous over-the-top arguments which the Tories were trying to make about private schools as well. It has now been exposed as complete fabrication. Most councils reported no impact at all. Oh, what about this exodus then? There wasn't really one. What about the trickle then? Was the trickle damaging? There wasn't even a trickle. According to these reports, even those counties with the highest number of private school students have said a little bit of movement. Oh, the system's collapsing. Oh, well, the system's collapsing in your county. It might not be everywhere else, but in your county, the system's collapsing then. No, it's not. So even the counties where they've got all these private schools, loads of private schools, it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of a difference, but we're fine with it. We've got the room. So this supposed exodus of private school pupils has completely evaporated, just like every other Tory fantasy. Don't expect this to be reported prominently in the Tory client media, of course. I actually decided to take a look at the Telegraph because they've got a pretty well organised website. And I went to their education section. Not a dicky bird. Actually, tell a lie. There was an article on VAT on school fees. It was an article about why Labour should put the VAT exemption back, at least when the economy grows. All right, we will accept it now, but when the economy grows, take it off, will you? Nothing about the fact that the VAT policy hasn't actually produced any of their doom and gloom, any noticeable change in educational habits for private schools at all. It just means that wealthy parents don't get their tax break and poorer state school kids get to eat something at the start of the day. The same people who downplayed all the warnings about austerity and Brexit going over the top about making the richest decile, because that's what we're talking about, the richest decile pay their fair share of VAT. Because remember, this isn't a special tax. Labour haven't levied a special tax. I would have no problems if they did, for genuine luxury goods and services. This isn't it. It's just VAT. It's standard VAT. It's like the VAT, the rest of us pay for services with larger businesses, at least smaller ones can be VAT exempt, sure. But any largish business, if we purchase a service from them, we pay VAT on it. You know, the policy was not creating a tax. It was just removing an unjustified tax break for the rich in order to provide for people whose safety net had been sold off by the Tories. And even when their, can I call it Project Fear tactics, have been shown to be complete hogwash, they still keep pushing. Why? Because although only 7% of the population send their kids to private school, it's a good half of people who work in the mainstream media, and much more than that in terms of senior Tories. Greed above the national interest every single time with these people. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.